I think I was perhaps a little distracted last week on May the 12th, and not terribly well, actually, but much better now, thank you. But I was a bit distracted. I didn't see Question Time. I've now just seen it, and I am immensely impressed by journalist Ask Sarkar, who follows up what the Archbishop of Canterbury was saying, and she challenged a junior health minister, Helen Whateley, about the nastiness Olympics. And she said, it's not who we are. We should be offering a safe haven to people who come here seeking refuge and fleeing the Taliban, fleeing Syrian prisons, fleeing persecution in Iran, coming here because they have aided and helped the British troops in Afghanistan. It's extraordinary. No government does what she describes, to give birth in what is effectively a glorified camp or a prison. No government does that because they think it's morally good. No government does that because they think it's particularly efficient or effective. You're doing it because you committed yourself to this nastiness Olympics, she says, because you want a pat on the back from the Daily Mail, and the human cost is obscene. I think both she and the Archbishop of Canterbury are absolutely right that the current proposals about small boats lead us in a direction that is morally unacceptable. We fail to live up to our history, in the language of Justin Welby. We fail to take moral responsibility, and we fail to take responsibility for our political and international job, our interests. We need to have an eye on the way we are viewed, not only across the world, but also through history. And history will be deeply unkind to Suella Braverman and to her dreams of an ideological home for people who have crossed the Channel, who have been aided by people smugglers, who have been lured into risking their lives to come to this country with the promise of safety. Nobody wants to come to this country to use our NHS. I think by now everybody knows around the world that our NHS is failing. Nobody wants to come to this country to exploit our housing system. I think people now know our housing system is failing, or to use our transport, which doesn't work. They want to come to this country because they've been taught English, because we have exported English in an extraordinary way as the language to learn internationally. The IELTS, the TOEFL, the various language learning systems through which we have exported and exploited the one thing we can trade, which is our language. And yes, America does it too, but that means that people speak English rather than speak French or German or Spanish or Italian. And they may struggle with those languages, but they don't struggle with English, and they may have friends and family in this country who are settled and who are telling them, and actually, if you can get through here, you can negotiate your way past the NHS, past the failing trains, and past the lack of housing. And you can contribute to this extraordinarily proactive and optimistic society that we should have and that we had until just a few years ago. I think the panel, Reverend Richard Coles, formerly from Radio 4, and ingloriously dumped, what have we got to do to ensure that our society is led by people who are noble. Well, what we have to do is to make sure that we aren't willy-nilly dumping people because of some sort of phase, that we aren't willy-nilly cussing people in public, that we become a society that respects others, or that we are a society that respects others. If we don't respect ourselves, if we're not seen to respect ourselves, how can we respect others? And we are led by a society that dreams of hurting the vulnerable. One of the reasons why the small boats proposals are so wrong is because they target the victims, not the committers of crime. They target people who have been lured into those small boats. They target people who have no knowledge of international law. Most of them probably don't read newspapers in English. They are told this is safe by people who are taking £5,000, £6,000, £10,000 from them. It's not safe at all. If we want to keep people safe, if that is our motive, which it should be, then we set up places in Calais to process those people who want asylum. That's what we do. But that's not what Suella Braverman and her cronies are doing. Her cronies are catching people after they have risked their life and after they have given their money to the people smugglers. We are making the people smugglers rich. This is squalid. We are abetting and enabling criminals.